28 days to go. I'm pretty nervous. I'm pretty anxious. And then the main thing that is really letting go of the material world, particular money, to go out on this journey. At least like my 40 days and 40 nights going into the desert, into an unprotected state. That's what the desert means. Without much money. To head out there, but you also know that you have shut the door behind you. You have given everything away. Not out of stupidity, but truly out of I offer myself up to thy will, and thy kingdom shall come, and I'm open to this. I'm accepting the sonship to the God within me, the God within us all, to see what happens. I want to get away from myself, to allow this great force to move me rather than I have to move. Because it is interesting, as children, we came into this world to receive from our parents. So also, as far as I have come, we are here to receive the experiences, the feminine. That's all tied up through wisdom. That's also tied up through intuition, of knowing what I should do, what is best now. And of course, that works the best if you're not laden full of weight, of busyness, of will, because will is always attachment. I'm attaching myself to this, and I'm attaching myself to this and this and this. So I have these strings, and these strings are running everywhere and holding me into place. So the universal winds, let's say, come along and want to move you into position, and they can't do it because you have too many knots been tied and fix you into position. And this is really what I question in this world. And of course, everybody says, Kai, you're wrong. And all the study and all the text that they say is like, let go. All the healing I have said, I've witnessed, I've seen, I've experienced, it always came through letting go. And the big picture is that this would be this red balloon, right? And humanity would lie on this red balloon. And if we could give up the material rules, what would the red balloon do? It's like gas. It's like helium. As long as we abide by the material laws that are here, and yes, we are living in this, so we have to, but surrender of it. What will the helium balloon do? It will go back to its natural state, up. And this is the interesting thing. As much as we take on more. I need to do this and I need to do that. And what it does, it fixes us deeper and deeper, immovable for the universe. Because the more will you have, the less will the universe can do. Because you're a given free choice. And if you choose, then that's it. But the ultimate is how this balloon starts rising again, coming to its natural state. Ye are all gods. So it's a higher form. It's a spiritual form. It's an energy, a vibration, a frequency. And that naturally would rise and would get lighter and lighter the more ballast we would throw out and surrender and let go of. And the lighter we are, the less fixed we are. Can you imagine a boat has been tied onto the docks with so many ties to have it rock solid? This is what we do here. But I think if we really want to go on a journey, if we really want to heal the world, we have to stop doing as much from a point of knowledge, a point of science, but allowing ourselves to come back to the feminine principle of wisdom, of intuition, of understanding that the wisdom of the chaotic, there's a structure in the chaos, that there is no linear thinking that you have to do this and then this and this and this, but sometimes you have to do this to get an experience, to go there and this, and it's all, there's no time and space, and it just doesn't work for the mind. And this is our big problem in our world. It just all becomes mind, and we fix ourselves, and we doing this spiritual bypassing in telling or believing that we're doing this out of spiritual reasons. But what we actually do is like the same within the Ukraine, right? We're trying to stop the war. And what we do is our emphasis is on war. So we're sending more military machinery into this torn area, so that the small area becomes much bigger in the end, rather than saying, look, okay, the onus is on peace, on reconciliation. And what would that mean? Oh, self-responsibility comes up. I'm staying here and giving everything away and realizing, it boils down to the deal. And you stand there and it's like, wow. Do you know how much identification I have, for example, with smells? And wouldn't be the smell an amazing thing how you'll find your tribe? Because in Germany, there's a saying, you can't smell people, like you don't like the smell of someone. But nowadays, with our cosmetic industry, they'll unify the whole thing. Yeah, they give it notes, but within the notes, you can find yourself, again, within certain tribes, the one who likes this perfume and the other one likes this. So that smell is a perfumed smell, is one unit. The people who use perfumed smells or non-natural smells, they're all one mass. And this is what happens with everything. We're being tried to be sucked into this mass thinking rather than finding our tribes through smell, through our action. And it's so interesting of how it all identifies to let go of clothing. Like today, it was just such an ego trashing because I hated sandals, right? Like flip-flops are okay and so on in the summer, but sandals, no. And then with white socks or whatever, it's just, nah. You wouldn't get me into those, not at all. And today I bought some because I had to think of how I go with a rucksack with as little as possible weight. So the onus there is not that my knees maybe have issues with that due to a previous injury, but the answer is like, let go. No, let go of everything. You don't need anything. Go out there. This is what also stands in the text. It's like, just wear your clothes and you don't need a second pair. And you realized as you walked around and you got away from, you look good, beforehand I had some quite nice clothes on and some good shoes and looked the part, and I identified like to look the part, and suddenly I stood there in sandals and made myself walk through town barefoot in sandals. This was a terrible feeling. But then it was so clear to me in the act of self-responsibility. Like, let go. Let go of whatever identity you make up to it. It's you. It's me that counts. Nothing else. It's that involution. It's that frequency within me that creates my outside. And only if my inside is not clean, then I have a messed up outside. If I give value to the outside, I'm in judgment on the inside. There is not one or the other. There is only one. All there is. So the in and the out is the same thing. I had this interesting thing about relationships. And the person mentioned that, it's from the inside, and a relationship should be done through a complete being on the inside, and that person should go into the relationship. And this is like, the judgment of one is better than the other. But the outside also gives you the experience and the capacity to learn and to adjust and to amend whatever the theory on the inside is there. Because ultimately, whatever you have as a theory or as a wisdom, if you know the lottery tickets and the wisdom says to you, you should play the lottery and these are your numbers, then you still have to do it. You still have to prove that the numbers that you intuitively had part of your wisdom, that you prove it. So you have to step into reality. You have to step out into the projection and work it out and play it out and go back onto the inside and stay responsible for those things that show up. So there is no duality. It's only one. And this is the major factor that we have to understand here. There is no good and evil, a bad and a good. No. It's only us. It's only our experience from our inside to the outside. Can we take self-responsibility in what happens in our world? Can we let go of the parts that are there and saying, okay, hold on, I'm not taking it for that's the evil that's in the outside, or I'm the victim of whatever, but to take responsibility and says, what part in me is that what I'm seeing in the outside? Because that's what it's there for. I think, like, once I was asked a question about sexuality, how am I able to be relatively independent or in charge, sovereign to my own energy in being sexual with another person? It's like I'm not. But it's about cooperation. I ask for cooperation there to help me so that I have my boundaries. And the partner works with that. And he knows also that there is a boundary there where the person needs to be supported with. And that humbleness that comes to it, to speak up and saying, look, this is what I need. This is what I want. This is the experience I want to have. Can I have your support in this? Because alone I can't do it. The world is too big. But how can I cooperate with the world? Stating what I want and claiming also that and seeing it through. But staying in contact, staying in relationship, relating to the other side, from the inside to the outside, because it's one. I've drawn it out on this square cross, and it was Two eights, one on the vertical axis and one that goes on the horizontal axis. So we have the feminine and the masculine as dual points, but they are not. It's one number of 8, one infinity loop. And also it's the one between spirit and matter or sex. And that goes. And it's also one. And the whole is one. And the whole is within the whole circle. God. And there is a center in the middle where all these parts coming together. All of those parts, they have one point where they all come together. And that's called the Christ. The Christ consciousness. But the interesting thing is, it's not in doing. There's in yielding. Because if you think that there's the masculine on the horizontal line, that's the doing, and that's the being or the receiving, and there is the center point here. And that center point comes also down on the vertical axis, between being spiritual, being physical or sexual or material. So less drama, because the outside forces playing the dual parts of it just create an opposing end to it. So it can't be that the one is extreme and the other one is here. It just doesn't work. No, the pendulum always swings both ways. And the stiller will become, the more we get away from out of ourselves, the more something inside of us becomes still, and that then can be used from the universe so that thy will shall come, thy kingdom shall come. Then we're part of it, of all there is, but then we're integrated in the greater picture of the universe. How would our story end up if we would have played that story? Imagine you wake up in the morning and you would stay idle. You say, I'm not going into doing. And I see what happens. And I question, I be self-responsible. And you see how little you would do. Or how much you want to do. Your willingness. And good for those who know deep from their heart what they're here to do. And they're doing it. But I certainly don't. Not yet. And even though I have an idea in which direction it goes, I still have to learn to let go further and further and further of all the identifications, of the rights, of the wrongs, of the judgments that I'm holding up. Then on a daily basis, I project out into my world, onto the outside. And of course, it's only the inside, but it's one. The outside on the inside, it's one. There are no exceptions to it. It's so difficult to comprehend that in each moment, because it really goes on your nerves when the other one says, what's the projection here? What are you projecting outwards on it? Because it's like, it's so clear that it's like the villain or the bad circumstance has nothing to do with me. It's like, really? Think deeper. Let go. Yeah. Prayer and letting go. Prayer and being. Prayer and being. As I always said, in every being there is some form of doing. But there's a different kind of doing. It's not my will. It's like, I want to earn loads of money. I did that through sports, through business. very early on through the stock market. And I had certain experiences, but you know what? The money never made me happy. The riches that the world offered me to experience, 5-star hotels, but what were they? In the Bible it says, like, what is if the world, you own the world, but you have no heart? And it isn't that is so important. What you really, what's your heart saying? Like, I'm with my stethoscope and I'm listening to my heart, and I feel like it's stronger and stronger in this. Okay, there is something inside of me, something that's deeply ingrained of me that my mind, my intellect can't grasp. So my mind tries to find other things to be a part in this world. But by him doing that, by not being patient, by not allowing it to unravel, and as it is in the pain to let go of the thing, so that my own balloon is going up and up and up, because it takes constant self-responsibility. Every day something knocks you. Every day you're in pain. And the pain just shows you, let go. Let go. And in the moment that you understand that the pain is your teacher, that you're asked again to let go of something, to get a little bit closer to your origin, to be part of that godliness, that you're God's expression in human form as a child. And the more we let go of these identifications, these pains that are there, and express that and truly saying, okay, interesting, I got it. Yeah, I saw it. I felt it. But I want to let go of it. I choose not to hold on to it anymore. I choose not to put the material world above the spiritual world. I mean, the plate is so small compared to infinity of the spiritual world. So why do we disregard the spiritual world that is so vast to the tiny speck of the plate that lies on our table in front of us that is visible, when the invisible is the one that our potential is really lying, waiting to be picked up, waiting to be experienced? But can we own up to that? Can we surrender? And can we go onto receiving modus instead of onto active doing modus? Can we flick the switch? And with every choice that we do, and say, I surrender here, and see where the wind wants to move me. And maybe it doesn't want to move me because I'm right there and just don't need to do anything, because then I experience what's happening right here at this moment of time, at this place. So then I'm on the inside. And if it's not on the outside, it happens on the inside. And it's exactly perfect for that. So it's all one. Hmm. 28 days to go. Till the desert calls. An unprotected state. To go out there and know that I'll have to face my demons. Sooner or later they'll show up. And I looked into the astrological signs, how the transits work and so on. And it's like, it isn't good. Doesn't look good. It will be tough going. But do I also expect it? But I also know that the tough one, the painful one, is the good one. And without no pain, no gain. Without the pain, I can't realize it. Without the projection, I can't realize what's going on. I need to have a picture. I need to see something. I need to project something onto it from the past, present, or future. But that allows me to realize it out there so I can realize it in me. So it's all one and the same thing. And then we can't have any judgment to the inside and to the outside. It's all one. When every experience their own story, their own experience. And we all are invited to do one thing, to let go. To let go that we can receive. Because as higher that balloon is up, because he's clearly going up, because he's lighter, he's going upwards. And the higher he is upwards, the more he is within his nature. He's aligning to his own nature. It's a denser energy, and he's going up where he belongs to a lighter energy. And from there, it can come down again. Because this is the way how we manifest. From the spiritual into the physical. From the mind into matter. First there was the thought. Then there was the word. The word was God. And God was the word. And it became flesh. So how can we do things smarter? Not the hard way as we do it now. Of working so hard, of working with judgment, of making ourselves right, so therefore someone else has to be wrong. When it's just me experiencing myself here. As a creator. And it's easier to create what the universe needs you to be. And what you are, why you came here. It's so much easier because it comes from your heart. Your heart gets activated about that. This is the key and the seed and the code that's within you. That opens everything. Electromagnetic, the heart, I think, is 50,000 times more powerful than the intellect, than the mind. So why not work with that? But yeah, I enjoy it anyway. It's like, yeah, I believe that you enjoy it in general when success is there, or you hold up onto the strings that gives you identification of whatever you're doing. And I have done so many things, and I'm still hanging in there. And I realize, as I said, the deodorant that gives me an identification, or the perfume, the aftershave that I'm wearing, or the clothes I'm wearing, and the shoes I'm wearing, and it's like, wow, I'm hiding so much. Can I not become who I truly am? Enough said. It's already much too long again.